Hello, everyone. Welcome, members, and on behalf of the Norton Museum of Art, we really welcome you to Member Insights. My name is Meredith Gregory, and I'm the Associate Curator of Education for School and Teacher Programs here at the Norton. I'm pleased to be leading this special program on Norton Art Plus. If you have any questions throughout the session, we encourage you to submit using the Zoom's Q&A feature at any point during the program. We will dedicate the final 10 minutes to answering your questions. Before I begin, I'd also just like to thank the Anna Maria and Stephen Kellen Foundation for really this generous donation to make Norton Art Plus happen. So the application that we created for Norton Art Plus really began with a question. How could technology allow visitors to engage in conversations about contemporary art? A core group of Norton staff took on the idea of this question and decided to create a mobile application, which is just a computer program on your phone, much like you have your email on your phone or social media. We wanted to create an app so that visitors could engage with contemporary art. We decided to utilize augmented reality in the application to do this. But what is augmented reality? Users see the real world on a screen enhanced by computer-generated perceptual information. So you will see the real world, whatever you're seeing in front of you on the screen, but then there also might be some animation in the augmented reality experience as well. And you'll see what I mean in just a moment. You all are going to be the first ever members and people to see this app experience through video. So I'm excited to show you what this experience looks like. So we knew we wanted to create an augmented reality app to answer this question, but we needed help with design. We hired an organization, designers called Local Projects from New York City. They were selected out of 9 different firms, and we selected them because they are very well connected within the museum world. They have fresh perspectives and ideas, and since this is our first time using augmented reality app, we wanted someone with a lot of experience and some really fun and exciting new ideas for us to utilize. They've done projects at Cleveland Museum of Arts and Cooper Hewitt. Here's an example of what they've done with the Cleveland Museum of Art called Gallery 1. Some of you may have been to the Cleveland Museum of Art before and interacted with this. And you can search through thousands of objects and like the objects and find out more information. So we were really excited to collaborate with them, and they've been wonderful partners as we have been on this journey to create Norton Art Plus. We had our designers. We knew we wanted to do augmented reality. What's next? Well, we have to actually pick our objects. So we worked with curatorial to find out what's the criteria to select these objects. We knew we wanted contemporary artwork, obviously, and it had to be from the permanent collection at the Norton. We wanted the works of art that we chose to represent diversity within race, gender, but also types of media. We didn't just want paintings, we also wanted sculpture and mixed media, so that was really important to us. We also had to collaborate with the artist to get their permission to utilize their works of art for this app. So the final 6 works we picked are, we have Nick Cave's Soundsuit, Oldenburg Van Bruggen's typewriter eraser scale X. We have Ugo Rondinone's Moonrise, Dan Vo's We the People, Pei White's Icon, and Rob Wynn's work, I Remember Ceramic. I get this wrong every time. It's so long. I remember ceramic, I was right. I remember ceramic castles, mermaids, and Japanese bridges, which is not only the title of the work, but you'll see those words written in the artwork as well. So our core group of Norton staff and the local projects team, once we had the artworks, we wanted to think about, well, what's this experience actually going to look like? How can we better help visitors, children, school groups, youth? How can we better help people understand contemporary art? It started with focus groups. Local projects came to the museum. This was pre-COVID era, and they led us through some focus groups. We have on the left here, Norton's staff engaging in a focus group. And what I love about this project is that it was really a collaboration. So we didn't just have people in education or development. We had people represented from every department to think about what we wanted this app experience to be. We also had a focus group with our teen advisory squad, and here's a picture of the teens on the right seen with Mickeline Thomas. And our teens really brought so many wonderful ideas to the table. One thing that we came away with from these focus groups is that we really wanted to connect the app to the theme and the process of the work of art. We wanted to have artist information on the app so that people could learn more. We wanted to make connections to the rest of the collection at the museum. And there had to be a social element. So if people are coming to the museum together, either as friends or family, how could they engage in the app together? And also, how could they share whatever they've created in the app with the rest of the world or to themselves once they've finished the experience? One thing that was really surprising to me is in the task focus group, they said, well, what about privacy with creating these social elements? So that was really important to us to think about how we could protect the visitor information when they're using this app. And that was a really great point that the teens made. Once this app was created, we also had families testing the app in their homes, pretending like they were in the museum. So we're excited to have multiple people and multiple types of groups testing the app to make sure it's a great experience for all visitors. One thing that came out of this too is that we decided we want to utilize an iPad that people could check out to use the app. And the reason for this is because we find that apps can be very different on every single phone or device. So to have the same uniform experience every single time, we wanted people to check out iPads from our great hall. And today I'm going to be taking you through these 6 works of art. The iPad gives you a suggested route, and that's the route that we're going to be taking today. And we're going to check out our iPad and go to our first work of art. So here we are in Heyman Plaza in front of our now very iconic work for the museum, Oldenburg and Van Bruggen's typewriter eraser scale X. Oldenburg has always had a fascination with everyday objects, from paper clips to cigarettes and typewriters as well, typewriter erasers as well. Some of you may remember the exhibition curated by Rachel Gustafson on the typewriter eraser scale X. And Oldenburg has been creating these wonderful sketches since the 1960s. Many of these sketches show the works of art, the eraser animated. We notice in the bottom here, the eraser is almost fallen flat on its face with the bristles on top. Maybe it's sleeping. Sometimes he shows the sketches like a tornado. So he's been thinking about the eraser for a long time. In 1978, he married Kusche Van Bruggen, and they became collaborators. As they began to become collaborators, they finally made the typewriter eraser scale X come to realization in 1999. Oldenburg and Van Bruggen love playing with scale. A really tiny object, such as a typewriter eraser, now is 20 feet tall. We also noticed the movement that he showed us in the sketches in his final work of art, which is made out of fiberglass and stainless steel. The movement suggests that perhaps these bristles have been used for a very long time and now are frayed. It's also tipped on its side over a beautiful reflection pool. This eraser is not easy to install. It's really big, and so we have these cranes lifting the bristles and the eraser into place. We have poured reinforced concrete to make sure that the eraser stays on its tilt. So there's a lot of work that went into getting it into our beautiful plaza. I'm going to show you the first experience that you will have with your app on your iPad. In these videos, they were taken by one of the designers from Local Projects who is actually creating the app in his Brooklyn studio. So this isn't the finished product. You all are the first ones to see this besides staff, and it's an idea of what the app will look like. So as you can see, we have our little typewriter eraser in circling around, and it's picking up letters. It was important to us to include the function of a typewriter eraser because many people don't know what it is. So here it's erasing letters. We play with scale in this app experience. As the eraser eats the letters, it gets bigger and bigger. It's erasing letters, and as it does that, it tells you how many it's erased, and it also tells you how many seconds you have left to erase the letters. And finally, when your eraser is really, really big, the letters that you have eaten will come out into a Klaus Oldenburg quote. So here is Eric, our designer, steering the eraser with the arrows to eat all of the letters. You'll come back into the Great Hall for the second work of art on the app experience, which is Pay White's Icon from 2018. Like the typewriter eraser, this work of art has really become an important part of the museum and a key work of art. It's a site-specific work, which means that it was made for this museum and actually for the Great Hall when we reopened in 2019. Also, like Oldenburg and Van Bruggen, she's playing with the idea of everyday objects. Here, she has taken a photograph of tinfoil, and she has used a computer to weave a tapestry and made it really large scale, just again like Oldenburg and Van Bruggen. What I'm struck by in this work of art is the depth that the light and the contrast of the colors creates. And in fact, there's a lot of play with light in our Great Hall. We have the oculus on top. We have the window across from Icon that shows our beautiful banyan tree. So those were some of the ideas that we thought about when we were creating this app experience. So you use your iPad to unlock the work of art, and then you'll see that Icon has become a mirror, and it mirrors the window across from the actual work. You can use your finger to crinkle the work of art and create that really interesting light and depth that she's created. And as you crinkle, you can undo. You can create as much texture as you'd like. You can stick it on the wall. And when you're finished, you can save to your portfolio. So you can do this as many times as you'd like, and then you can send yourself your finished works of art. As we head farther into the galleries, you'll come across Nick Cave's Soundsuit, which for many of you who love this work of art, it's now going to be installed in the Fisher Gallery, which is in our contemporary galleries. Soundsuits in this Nick Cave is playing with the idea of identity, thinking about race and gender. And when he's hidden in this soundsuit, how that identity is gone. We now have this unknown form with no identity. We're not really sure how to interact with it, and a new identity is created. He also performs in these sound suits, so there's some movement element to it. We see there's a really interesting texture on our sound suit here with buttons. So I wonder if those even move and make a sound when he's inside the suit. So that's the idea that we played with for this part of the app, is hiding yourself within the suit. You can see early on we had trouble hiding the people within the suit just because it's such new technology. So that's something that our designers really worked hard on for the final piece. One of the teens, when they interacted with this work of art, said, "I cannot wait to take a video of myself, send it, and then I might create a holiday card or Christmas card from it." So it's really fun that you can video yourself playing in the sound suit and then send it to yourself. Each app also has artist information, as I mentioned before. So here's the page for Nick Cave. And then down on the right, you'll see that collection connection I was talking about. So you can view artworks with similar themes and processes at the bottom of the screen. As you head into Harris Gallery, which is right next to our Gorgon Garden, you will come across Dan Vaux's We the People from 2011. I love that we chose to include this work of art in the app because I find myself looking at this and saying, what does this mean? Why is this art? Besides it being beautiful, I had no idea what it was about. We often find visitors taking selfies in front of this work of art because it does have that reflective nature. So I'm glad that the app could lend a little bit of a conversation about the work of art. Dan Vaux set out to recreate Frederick Bartholdi's Statue of Liberty. He created 250 pieces using the same techniques as Bartholdi and also using copper as a material, which is what the Statue of Liberty is made out of. He made it into 250 pieces, but instead of putting it together to fully recreate the Statue of Liberty, he kept those 250 pieces apart. And here's an example of some of the pieces that he created. These 250 pieces are now all over the world. Dan Vaux was born in Vietnam and settled in Belgium, and he's drawn to the abstract idea of freedom, cultural assimilation, and also the idea of country borders and how they're very fluid. So the app deals with the fact that the pieces are spread all over the country and reflect on Bartholdi's original work of art by creating a puzzle. So you can take the work from our collection as well as other works from Dan Vaux's We the People, and you can try to see where they fit into the Statue of Liberty. Once you find it, it kind of is magnetic and goes into place. One thing I also like about augmented reality is that you actually feel like whatever you're seeing is in the space. So you can walk around these objects that you see on the app. Here you can walk around to the different 250 pieces and click on the pieces with your finger to find out where they're located. You can also take a photo to send to yourself of what you assemble. We're really going on a tour of the first floor of the museum. And of course, we couldn't leave out the Gorgon Garden. Here we see Moonrise by Ugo Rondinone, made in 2006. And this picture actually isn't of our Gorgon Garden. This is an installation of our pieces before they came to the museum. But I love this photograph because I think you get a really good idea of what the faces look like. I'm sure many of you have seen it in person as well. Ugo Rondinone uses clay models that he molds with his hands, and in fact you can see his fingerprints in the work. And then his final works are enlarged and made in aluminum. He's interested in different phases of the moon, and we have 2 at our museum, but there's 12 phases total, and each phase has a month. So here we're seeing July on the right and November on the left. He's interested in how the moon looks very mask-like, and he's also interested in the mask of the Ubik people from Australia. I'm sorry, not Australia, Alaska. But he says, you don't have to understand it. You just have to feel it. In fact, people use their feelings and their emotions to create their own face. And you can name your face, or maybe you want to be like Rondinone and name a month with your face, and you can install your finished piece in the garden. Here, Eric is pressing his thumb to the area that says press thumb here to create that texture, much like Rondinone's work. What's great about seeing it installed in the garden is you not only get to make the intentional choice of where you'd like to install it, but also other people can, when they bring their iPad, they will see all of the faces that were installed before them. So it's a collective area where you get to see multiple faces installed. The last stop on the Norton Art Plus app is Rob Wynn's I Remember Ceramic Castles, Mermaids, and Japanese Bridges. I got it right that time, from 2012. This work is also like Pay White's. It's a site-specific work made for the lobby that we had before our 2019 expansion. And Rob Wynn worked with us to reconfigure this installation for the 2019 opening. It spans 3 of our floors, and on the bottom floor, you will see the title of the work. And Rob Wynn acts as sort of a chemist. He was experimenting with molten glass, and he dropped this glass on the floor of his studio, and he saw it made these really interesting shapes like bubbles. Now he's much more methodical when he creates these pieces. He uses a slate table, and you can see the mark of various designs that he has used to mold the glass. And then he puts these glass bubbles all over his installation, and he's very specific about where he wants each glass bubble to go, and there's hundreds of these. So here's the app experience, and you'll scan the work of art, and you'll get to be an experimenter just like Rob Wynn and pour a glass bubble onto the floor of the museum. And then you'll also get to decide the shape and the size of your bubble. So here's the bubble that Eric has created, one of our designers. And like the Rondinone Moonrise work, you can install your work onto the wall in the gallery. So other people, when they come up with their iPad, will get to see where you put your bubble. So you're thinking about how installation works, much like Rob Wynn does in his works as well. So you're thinking about processes, but also installation as well. Here's the information page for Rob Wynn, and of course we have the similar artworks collection connection as well. So that's just a quick overview of the app. I hope you're excited to try it out when the museum reopens. I know the museum hopefully is going to reopen soon, and the app, once we reopen, will come out a month after the museum is open. And we've thought a lot about COVID because, of course, we started this process before COVID hit. So to make a safer experience for our visitors, people can use gloves to use the iPad. Each iPad is wiped down before given to a visitor, and we also have a self-cleaning cart where the iPads live. So we worked with Apple to think about what's the best safety measures, and we're really excited to share this app with you even during this challenging time. Again, you're the first people to see what this app is going to look like, so I hope you enjoyed it and are excited to play with this app soon. I'm going to take some questions from the audience. We have a little more time. I think we have till 2:45. So question number one is, what's your favorite artwork to engage with in the Norton Art Plus app and why? I think the most fun piece for me, and I think the ones that I work with students a lot, I think students will really enjoy Ugo Rondinone's Moonrise, just because they get a chance to kind of do funny faces and think about emotions and actually install it outside in the garden. I'm also really excited again about Dan Vo's work, because I think that this will help people be able to interpret that work a little bit better. Okay, someone else's question says, are there plans to expand upon the artworks featured in Norton Art Plus app? When we began this process, we are using this app experience and the generous grant we received from the Kellen Foundation to have our first foray into using technology in the galleries. So certainly it's possible that we could expand upon this using the app or using other technology. I think it's definitely possible, but we have a lot of evaluation to do to see how this works before expanding. So somebody asked, what is your specific role within this project? I work with school and teacher programs, and from the beginning, I was part of a core team with somebody from development, IT, so the person that deals with computers and Wi-Fi, and yeah, it was just the three of us in the beginning. And so I was kind of the education representative. And so we were the ones who found local projects and began that process. We also thought about what experience we might want to have. Since then, the core group has grown to include other departments. As I mentioned, it's really collaborative. And so it's been such a treat to work with my colleagues through this app. Okay, so somebody asked when the museum will open to the public, which is a question we get a lot and I see on social media too. From what I've heard, is that we are hoping to open the museum as soon as possible. And executive leadership team is the one who are making those decisions along with the board. They're thinking a lot about staff safety. I'm in the museum right now, so we've been putting protocols in place to make safe workspace, but that's something definitely to consider, staff safety as well as visitor safety. And they're also thinking about our rates in Palm Beach County, and I think they want to get to a certain percentage before we reopen. But we hope to reopen soon, and we hope that you engage with us through Norton from Home and programs like this and other programs that we have online. A fifth question is, did you encounter any unexpected challenges along the way with this project? I guess the most disappointing thing, and I won't tell you what work of art it was or what artist it was, is that we had several works of art. It was a painting that I was really excited to use because we utilize it a lot in school tours, and it's often people's favorite work of art in the museum from the contemporary collection. But the artist was not interested in working through this app because I understand there's so many image rights that you have to think about and deal with. So I was a little bummed that we weren't able to pick that work, but we pivoted to find other amazing works that we could utilize. But that was really one of the only main challenges that we have. It's been a dream to work with Norton staff and local projects. Okay, so somebody asked, I know we usually have a lot of wonderful docents on this program. Will docents play a role by interacting with the public in relation to this AR technology? So where we are right now in this program is Local Projects is actually coming on site next week to install and do the final run through of this app so that everything is ready to go when we reopen the museum. That includes training key staff so that they understand how to use the iPad. And then when we reopen, we will be able to train other staff. Docents and volunteers are a huge part of that training because you will, as volunteers and docents, you will see people walking around with these iPads. You might want to use them on your own tour, or you might want to suggest them after your tour. So docents and volunteers will definitely be a big part of training and utilizing this app. So somebody asked, how will the museum launch the Norton Art Plus app? We are working with our marketing team and thinking about how we can reach out to local but also national newspapers. We just applied for a conference, a museum and web conference. And what I love about local projects actually is that they're very well connected within the museum and the technology world. So they're helping us get the word out there. I think they've even reached out to somebody from New York Times. And so by not only doing press, we're also creating a video that we're going to put on our website that says how you can engage with this app. And we're also doing a lot of outreach on social media to let people know. And of course, this includes training of visitor experience staff so they know how to properly bring people over to the cart to engage with the app. Okay, I think that's it for questioning. So I just want to thank you for joining us for Member Insights, and I hope you enjoyed it and again are really excited to use this app as we continue on this new journey to incorporate technology into our museum. On behalf of the Norton, we'd like to extend a heartfelt thanks for your continued membership in support of the arts in our community, especially now in these current times. If you have any comments or questions about today's program, feel free to email the membership office at membership@norton.org. We look forward to seeing you at the next Member Insights on Thursday, November 12th. And my colleague that I work very closely with, Veronica Hatch, will actually be leading that Member Insights. So please join. Thank you again and have a great afternoon. Bye.